April 30th, 2023. You're listening to Oblast with Don and Kevin. I am Kevin.
I'm Don.
And we're back.
Yeah, here we are.
You've been listening to the shows consecutively. It's like we never left. We were here seconds ago, and we're back again. How you doing, man? What's going on in your life?
I'm all right.
Nothing new?
Nothing new. Just hating everything and, being grumpy. I'm getting really grumpy lately, so.
Old man type of thing?
Yeah, just kind of like, what, I'm sick of dealing with all you people.
Yeah.
Just people irritate me and stuff. I'm snapping it. Snapping at people.
I mean, that seems to be what happened to Korber. Like Korber, for people that have listened to the show for a long time, he guested a lot on Donnie's show. And I think he was on VGN a couple times.
He had one of the most famous lines on VGN, like Metaspective, whatever, history.
Which one was that?
When he was talking about the video game and he goes, "So if you like it, buy it." It was like, that was his review. He's like, "If you like this game, buy it." Like, okay, great.
Definitely sounds like Jason. Yeah. So, but he kind of reached sort of a point. It's here where with like a lot of the people on Facebook and stuff that we're friends with, where he just had enough, And I was talking about that last night at the show I was at, because I don't know, I had mentioned him about something, and I don't even know if I did, but Dan and Mole were just like, yeah, he unfriended me, and I'm thinking, I know why. I didn't say that, but I'm like, I know exactly why.
You did it for the same reasons I want to.
Right. The same reasons Joe always talks about doing it and stuff, It's like these guys just break balls constantly. And they're like, it's a joke, man. But it's like, is it though?
It's like, you don't always need to, you know what I mean? It's like, there's been a lot of times I've seen posts or I've seen people say something and I'll type something. I'll be like, you know what? I don't need to. You know what I mean? It's like, there's no need for it. It's not,
Yeah.
But that dude's always, oh God, that's why That's why I just what is it? Unfollowed Mole. So now I don't get any of his posts.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I can't follow him all the time. If there's something really important, like I'm still friends with him, somebody will tell me and I'll look at his page, but
Right.
Yeah, I'm not, because it's too much.
Yeah, I've gotten grumpy like that. I'm just like, I try not to even look at Facebook anymore. But yeah, it's just, I'm snapping. There's people who come to the furniture store and they're like, they got the smallest car and they got like a queen size mattress. And they're like, do you think that'll fit in there? And I can look at it and just be like, no, because like, what are you thinking? Like, you got a Honda Civic and you want me to put a queen size mattress in it. And they're like, yeah, well, the back seat goes down. Like, seriously? Like, what are you, like, get out of here.
That's great.
I've straight up told people, I'm like, science will not allow this. There's no way to make that. And they just look at me like, what do you mean? It's just like, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, I'll just walk away. I'll just be like, here, you take care of this. I gotta go.
Strap it to the roof. Strap it to the roof.
Yeah. But anyways.
No. Yeah. It's, I'm that way with work a lot lately because like, listen, I'm a professional, so I treat my job as a professional. I'm going to do it regardless of how I feel about it. That's what I'm trying to say. I get up, I go to work, I do my job, I try to do it right. And I tell you, though, there's times where I just don't care about it, And I think everybody feels that way at some point unless they're the business owner or they're, I don't know, they really like what they're doing. But there's just times where I'm just like, I get why we do something, like I get why we do this. But I really don't care about it, like I don't want to do it. Don't really like it. Don't care I just don't. And the older I'm getting, the more and more I'm just I was sitting up the other night thinking about it and just thinking to myself, like, like if I keep on this track where I'm going, like I might just end up unemployed or something. Like I don't understand the people who find this, like let me back up. I think since I was first starting to work when I was like 15, bagging groceries at Carl's.
Sure.
I've always had an attitude about work. I've always found work to be bullshit. Like, now don't get me wrong. I'll work it. I work hard. I do everything right. I'm the guy you want there working with you. But, you know, like if I could cut out early, if somebody was like, do you want to take off early today? I'm out. I'm out. You know what I mean? I'm done. I'm not working. I'm out of there. I don't want to be here today. You know, I might have no plans. I might just go home and do absolutely nothing and waste my time. But I do not want to work. And I think I thought about it and I'm like, there's people out there that just don't have that problem.
Right.
They don't have the sort of maybe resentment or anger issue I have with it, or hate, or whatever it is that I've got about it. Like you know, I don't think if somebody says, hey, do you want to take an hour off early today? They don't sit there and go, oh, I kind of wanted to stay. I don't know if anybody's that crazy, but I think there's people that, you know, don't feel the same sort of animosity that I feel towards, you know, working, to the point where you know, they probably care about what they're doing a little bit more than I do. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. I care about my job, but and I think maybe it's just my type of job. There's certain jobs I guess maybe I would care more about if I was doing them, but I don't know, man. It's yeah, it's just go ahead.
It's just this, my dad always said, you're going to work. They're paying you to do something.
Right.
They're offering you money. You've agreed to go in there and do the job for the money that they offer. You go in and you do your job, whether you like it or not. Doesn't matter. As long as the check's cash, doesn't matter who you meet, doesn't matter who you like, doesn't matter. And I've always had that in my head.
Yeah.
Because I hate working.
Right.
I really hate working.
Yeah.
But kind of like when we went, remember the first time we went to go play soccer indoors? And you were like, okay, it's Anderson. He's a slug. He just sleeps all day. He doesn't do anything. And then I got there, I put the clothes on, and all of a sudden I was like, let's go. And I started running around. I was jumping around. It was like it was like somebody else.
Yeah. Oh yeah. To the point where you completely injured yourself for the whole season off that first.
Both quads
off that first day. I don't even know if you got through the half, but yeah,
just warming up. Yeah, I pulled the one warming up, and then I pulled the other one when the game started. I crawled off the field,
completely down for the rest of the season.
Yeah, but I was really excited at first. You know what I mean? I was a different person.
Yeah,
and when I go to work, that's what I do. I go there and I work. I do my job. I clock out. I'm done. That's it. Once I clock out, you know what I mean? It's And it's I don't, and the job I have now, I do not give two F's about these people. Well, not the people, but I mean, the job and the company, the company's complete BS as far as I'm concerned. The way they operate and the way they do things. It's they had a guy out front of the store the other day, yesterday, with a sign that says, the store sells you broken furniture, and it's crap, because he ordered some, got it delivered. It was broken. He sent it back, got more. Right. Or no. Well, the story is he ordered it, got it sent to his house. It was all busted and broken when he got it. And it was well, what the hell? Came back to the store, bitched at the managers for 2 hours in the store, yelling at him and screaming at him. And then they were like, we're going to get you new stuff. We'll send you new stuff out and we'll take that out of there and we'll get it. He goes, okay, great. He leaves. He comes back the next day, completely apologizing to them. I'm so sorry for the outburst. That was just unacceptable. I should have just came and talked to you guys. I should have blah, blah, blah. And they were like, no, it's no problem. It's all cool. He gets his next delivery. All the furniture's broken, and he's livid. So now he's out front of the store with a sign that says, Bob's Discount Furniture sells broken furniture. Yeah, he was and people were walking in. He's like, don't buy anything in here because they're just going to sell you junk. And so then they had to go out there and grab him, bring him in, and talk to him. And then they refunded his money. They're like, just here's your money back. Please just go away. It was just, and that's the thing is this kid's telling me about it. He's like, yeah, so this guy's out there with a sign that says we sell broken furniture and stuff. And I looked at him and I go, he's kind of telling the truth, because it's I've seen the furniture. I know what's out there, and I've seen the things that these people buy. And it's just seriously, you want to buy this? Did you notice that it's, got this hole in it, or it's wiggly, or it's falling apart? Anyways, I hate my job and I hate the company I work for. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But you know what? I go in there and I clock in and I reluctantly do whatever work. But like you said, there are days where I just go in there and I go, you know what, guys? Have fun. I'm not doing nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm going to spend a couple hours building this chair. and I'm going to go take lunch, and then I'm not doing, you know what I mean? And that just happens, It's like, did I tell you about the last week with I think I did, where they were asking questions about like name a tree and vacation time. What vacation have you taken? And they were asking about cartoon characters and stuff. No,
must have been. No, I don't think so. It's not ringing a bell.
Because they have these meetings every day, and last week they were talking about. They were like, at the one meeting, they were like, okay, we're going to go around the group and everybody's going to name a tree that they like. And you're going to tell us a story about a vacation. I thought I did tell us because I was talking about the Walkman and all that stuff. Anyways. And then like the next day they handed out a piece of paper and they were like, what cartoon character represents you the best and why? And I refused to do it. I was like, I'm not filling this thing. I was like, I ain't got time for this. I said, it fold up. The next day they came to me.
Why would they want to know that for though? Why would they want to know that?
I'm sitting here going like, okay, so they're trying to get some kind of psychological profile on us now. They want to know what kind of trees we are and what cartoon characters we are and all this stuff. So I'm not doing it. The next day, the guy's like, hey, did you fill that out? I go, no, I'm not doing it. He goes, well, I need you to do that. And it's like, this isn't work related. It has nothing to do with furniture. So I didn't do it. And a couple of days go by and nobody said anything. And all of a sudden the two managers are sitting there and I come walking in the room and they're like, hey, we need that cartoon thing from you. And I looked at him. I go, I don't have a favorite cartoon. I am a cartoon. So if you need just whatever. I go, I'm not doing it. And they're like, we need you to do this. And I'm like, whatever. And I walked out. I was like, I am a cartoon character. And I just walked out of the room, went back to the warehouse, And then the one chick comes up to me a little bit later and she's like, what's going on? Why can't we get this cartoon thing from you? And I turned around and I asked her, I said, what is the deal? What do you need? Why do you need me to tell you what my favorite cartoon character is and why? And she's like, well, because we're playing a game and we need avatars for everybody. So we're asking who your favorite cartoon character is so that we'll make up your avatar as that cartoon character. And I'm just looking at her. I go, well, I don't want to play the game. It's because I'm a grumpy old man. You know what I mean? Because I'm just like, you know how I am. Somebody's like, here, do this. When anybody tells me to do something,
right? I'm
just like, no.
Yeah.
Like, why are you trying to get me to do this? Because I don't understand why you want me to do this. I don't want it, So it's like, I'm just like, no. I go, I don't want to play the game. She goes, you have to play the game. Everybody's in it. And I'm just looking at her. I go, well, the cartoon character I know you won't know. Goes,
right.
She's like, well, this is the thing. I know you're thinking like he's going deep Marvel or something. Like I'm going to be like Frogman.
Or Grim Jack or something.
They're great. I should have said Grim Jack, son of a bitch. That was a good one. Oh, what an idiot. All right.
Maybe you can change it. You have time.
Yeah, I should go back in there and be like, hey, remember all that fuss I was making? I got a new guy. Hold on. No, I gave him some cartoon character from from one of those Scottish books that, those Scottish cartoon books I have.
God, yeah.
Yeah, I gave her one of those names. I was like, this guy and whatever. Damn, I should have done Grim Jack. Son of a damn you, Kevin.
They would have picked him.
I should have asked you.
They would have given you Jim Twilly.
They would have had a picture of Roscoe. Anyways. But that's how grumpy I am now, where they're like, hey, everybody, we're going to get together and play this game. And I'm just like, I don't want to do it. It's just,
because they didn't tell you in the first place, and then they're just forcing you to do something that just you don't know what it's for, and it's dumb. You don't know what it's, what I mean. And then when they tell you,
right,
you're all worked up at that point. And you're just like, you don't want to do it, and then I get it. I totally get it.
Just leave me alone. Like it's bad enough I got to lift all this furniture and move all this stuff around and do all this stupid stuff. Just leave me alone.
Yeah, it's like my job yesterday. So we do these things where like, somebody makes a technical change to something in the bank, and it might impact our software. So they create these events and they're like, this is when we're doing it. And we need you to validate that your software works, And so they scheduled it the validation. So the part where you validate between midnight and 5 a.m, right? And so historically, if I started it right at midnight, I could validate it right at midnight and probably there's no problem. But a lot of times they've underestimated how long it's going to take them to do what they got to do. So I usually kind of validate a little bit later because I want to be sure that the change that they made is in place. Otherwise, I'm validating something. It's, it's not there yet. So, I do it too soon.
Yeah.
But so, I'm at the bar last night watching the concert. Our friend Tom's band was playing. Don't remember much of it because I was talking and, or yelling. And, I'm heading home, just a little bit before midnight, about 15 minutes before midnight. It takes me about 40 minutes to get to that place. And, my phone just starts going off. It's just like right at midnight, just like trying to pull me in, just trying to get me, trying to pull me, and they're like, you got to acknowledge this, and I acknowledge it. I'm like, yeah, I know there's this event. Right. And then they're like sending me it again. And then they're trying to get my coworker up. And I'm like, ignore that. I'm like, I tell them, just go to sleep or whatever you're doing. I'm like, I'll deal with it and stuff. These guys are just trying to they just decided that it's not from midnight to 5. It's like, it's at midnight. It's like, you got to come on now and do it. Most of the time, there's not another human being, by the way, that even checks this. You know what I mean? It's mostly just automated, but these guys are just sitting around in a meeting and they're just like, waiting on me. And I was hot. Like I was going to unload because of the fact that they scheduled it from 12 to 5. Right? Don't schedule it from 12 to 5 if you're going to do it all, at 12 or whatever.
Right.
It's fucking stupid. But I managed to keep my cool, just did the thing and just hung up. I was just basically just said validated and hung the phone up. And that's the kind of thing where I'm talking about. Like other people would be like, it's all ready. And they'd start it at 12 and they'd be, thanks guys. Good to talk to you. Have a good night. You know what I mean? And I'm just fucking fuming, pissed off. I don't know. And that's what I'm saying. Like I said, I do my job. I do it right. Everything's fine, but I don't know what it's in. I don't know what's inside me where I just really dislike, this particular. People. Yeah. Well, the thing is like my second job is I like that. I like the people and I actually work with people on the outside. I like those people. Sometimes it can be, some of those guys can really push your buttons when you're dealing with the public. But for some reason like that, it's a little bit more my speed, I think, in the sense of I don't know, I still have a high level of responsibility, but it's a different thing. But I still, if I had a choice, if you were just like, would you just like to get a check and not do anywhere? I'd be like, yes, I do not want to, I would want to go do something else. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's funny when the bosses, or you get the boss, they'd be like, okay, I need this done by the end of the day. And you're like, not a problem. I got it. And in your head, you got your process in your head. You're like, I'm going to do this, I get that done. And they come up to you like 10 minutes later, like, what are you doing? Why haven't you started it? It's just like, thought you said I had all day. Well, yeah, you got to get it done by the end of the day. Get off of me. It is just like, why are you making this worse than it has to be? Get out of here. It's like you said with the 12 to 5 thing where it's like, yeah. It's 12 to 5 and they're like, it's 12 o'clock, go. And you're just like, I got 5 hours. Seriously? Break. I hate bosses. That's what I hate.
Yeah. I was sitting there thinking last night, watching the show, thinking about, the music industry in general, in the sense of if you were in a band, like back in the day, when we were young, I mean, this is any generation, I think, up until recently, where if you were in a garage band kind of thing, and then you'd think about making it, you know what I mean? And you would you would want to maybe make a demo, send it to some record labels if you knew who the hell to send it to, hope they would listen to it. And then some fat cat guy would show up and be like, I like your sound, kid. Let's get in the car and let's talk about contracts and get your record deal. Let's go. Like you see in movies and shit. And I wonder a lot about this. First of all, I don't think a lot of that ever really happened. It seemed like back in the metal days anyway, you had to come from a certain area and you had to know people. You know what I mean? Like the glam bands all kind of knew each other, right? The Metallica and the thrash bands all kind of knew each other. And you had the East Coast guys; they all kind of knew each other out of New York. And I'm not saying there weren't these these rogue bands everywhere. But you don't, you know what I mean? Like you didn't get a lot of bands out of Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? Like if you weren't in the scene in one of these important places, like grunge, right? Grunge was coming out of Seattle. Like if you weren't part of that Seattle sound,
right? There was a lot of good bands in Cleveland, but Cleveland was never a scene.
Yeah,
all those people would either have to go to New York, or Chicago.
Right.
I think was
like if you were gonna rise up or something like kind of like Nine Inch Nails. It was almost like you'd have, because they were from around here basically. You would have to have like a lot of homegrown influence enough to just be noticed. I think that Pretty Hate Machine album that Trent Reznor guy released, I think that was like floating around for like a couple of years, but in the Cleveland area before it actually ever got released. And there was a video and shit for it, which I always thought was weird because when the video came out, I was like, it seems really late to be putting this, Head Like a Hole video on because this album's been out for years and stuff. At least it felt that way at the time. And but whatever. But my point being is that like today, like I don't know if you can be discovered anymore. Like I think like the music industry just makes artists. They just kind of like, let's just create a band. They've been doing that since Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and all that kind of stuff. Let's get a bunch of guys together and we'll make a band. And then they're doing that a lot with the musicians. Well, you guys want to be in a band? We'll put you in a band. We'll write your songs for you, or we'll put you together with people that'll write your music, et cetera, et cetera. And I know there's still some, don't get me wrong. I know there's still some out there that are organic, but I just don't know as a career choice, not that it really was much of one before, but I don't know as a career choice if you, like the only trajectory you could get is to kind of do it on your own. Like maybe not have a record label.
Right.
Like, you instead of making a demo, you make a CD, you play shows and you sell the CD and your merch, and hope you build a following that way somehow. But I mean, I'm not saying that's easy because you got to work, so you can't suddenly go on tour and not eat, but, I mean, if you have some sort of financial backup and maybe you could, but the whole band would need it. But the thing is that I just don't see it. I don't see a lot of, now to be fair, let me just say, I haven't listened to the radio. I still listen to digital stuff, but I haven't listened to like the radio music in a long time. Most of the time when I do, I'm hearing just like Rihanna and Katy Perry and Beyonce. I mean, the same singing, and then there's, Taylor Swift and there's always these like one-off guys, there's this dude you hear about one or two songs and then they vanish, and you see them on these shows and, Ariana Grande and stuff. Like there's these big acts and that's what I'm kind of talking about. Like the record labels are like, we have to have our big act. So we have this big act and this big act. And then all the rest of it, I don't know, man, it just falls away because they're not getting the record sales. I mean, they're not, you know what I mean? Like it's all about selling one song or something, I guess. But now it's all streaming. So like, is anybody even buying music? I mean, they're buying some records and stuff, but go ahead. I've talked enough. Go ahead. You talk.
Well, I was going to say is like, it's a completely different business now.
Yeah.
Because like you said, back in the day, it was, you would form a group or a band or whatever, and you would have to go out and you would have to gig. You'd have to play at all the bars and all the clubs and all the places that you could, you know what I mean? We played at Flashes every month and that's just, you know what I mean? And we needed to play more, you know what I mean? Just to kind of get around.
Or expose more people to the music. So you have to move around, like if you play the same place,
you got to go to Akron, you got to go to Youngstown, you got to go, you know what I mean? Just around the area, Lorraine. And, and that's what you had to do back in the day. And then, like you said, you had to get the money up to go to a studio to record some music, to get some songs on a tape, right, or whatever, on a CD. Well, they didn't have CDs, but whatever. Just to send around to people, and then with hopes that somebody would even listen to it. You know what I mean? Right. And it's like, and then if the guy listens to it, does he think it's good or not? It's like that. It's not like that anymore. Because right now, I could wake up tomorrow. Right. And I could be like, you know what? Quit my job, blah, 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 do all this stuff. And if I wanted, I could set this room up that I'm in. Yeah. And record a song. Right. All I'd have to do is sit here and think of a song, like, write a song. It might not be the greatest song, whatever it might, but I could then record it here on my computer because I have, the technology to do that, to edit it, to do all that. Hell, I got the the programs to make a video for it.
Sure.
You know, and so it's like, you know, in 24 hours, I could write a song, create a song, make a video, record it, and have it out on the internet, and people could be, you know what I mean, instantly, which is so much easier than, you know what I mean, the process that we went through back in the day, because, you know, we had to make the CDs, then we had to go, like you said, you had to make the CDs, then you got to go get them out there. You know what I mean? You're
right.
Like, you got to sell them to people, you got to throw them out to people, and hope they don't throw them back.
But I think like even selling somebody a CD, even that's going to be hard today, because I don't think a lot of people are listening to CDs anymore.
Well, no, and that's the thing, is nobody's buying. Record companies aren't necessarily looking, like back in the day, you would see record companies buying up every band. Because how many bands did you see where you were just like, how the fuck did they get in?
Oh,
you know, how did they get
in? Sure. Right. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's like, because they were just
all about like, today, I think you got to draw. Like, you got to draw people to your show, because that's where you're going to make money. Like, let's say I was some rich guy and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to sponsor Bessemer Saints, right? I'm going to be your guy, and you guys are going to have to, you know, I'm going to pay for your living expenses or whatever, you know, bare bones and shit. But I'm going to take a cut. And I can't take a cut of the CD sales, because what's that going to be? You know what I mean? Nothing. Right. I can't. And the merch, you can make a little bit of money on merch, but you're not selling a whole lot of merch. Not at first. So the only way you're going to make any money is you're going to have to take a cut of the show. But a lot of times when you're first starting out, shit, you're not getting anything from, you know what I mean?
Like
because they're
$50.
Yeah, they're like, whatever, man, you can sell tickets, and you know, you can take a cut of if you can sell tickets, but it's, how the fuck do you sell tickets to an unknown band, you know? So it's like, but you would have to do something these days. You can't, I mean, sure, you could write some amazing fucking songs, good luck, but you can't just be like dudes on stage playing instruments and expecting it to become what it was in the 60s and the 70s. You know what I mean? Like, it's not new. It's going on in every corner bar all over the world. And like, you have to, I mean, you got to like literally like light yourself on fire or something. And even then, you know, it would take a while for word to get around or something, you know, be like, it's the guy that lights himself on fire on every show, you know, in order to get noticed.
Well, look at it this way. You got people like William Hung and that Rebecca Black. Is that Friday? Remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a horrible song. Right. It's a horrible video. It's horrible. It's a horrible all around.
Right. Yeah.
But even just because of that, it got popular.
Right.
You know, and it's like, if she would have gone to a record company back in the day, they would have been like, you need to go.
Right. No, you can definitely make something viral. Right. And online.
And that's what.
But I don't know if that's career defining type stuff. Like, you know, like take Gangnam Style, you know, by Psy, right?
There you go.
Huge, phenomenally big song, unlike anything. The video had a lot to do with it. And I realized that he was already something in South Korea. People, you know, going to write me and shit. I don't, whatever. I get that. But there's been no real follow up to that. You know what I mean? Right. Like, he hit gold once, and he's made tons of money on that one song, and he's probably made millions, so he's probably able to, you know, he could probably retire on that. But I think your average person that even like a Rebecca Black or whatever, like makes one song and it's really popular, and, you know, maybe there's 100 million views or something. That's pretty good money on YouTube. But is she going to retire on that? No.
No, but I'm just saying in general, that's like something like that. A record company nowadays would be like, oh, she's got 2 million hits.
Well, right, yeah, and then you could get signed right by a major label, and then maybe they would. But even then, I don't know if you can survive on it. I just don't know, because no one's buying music. Everybody's streaming, and the streaming people, they don't pay very much. That's what we hear all the time. So you got to play shows, you got to play out at concerts and stuff. That's where you're going to make the money. And merch, again, you know, you can sell merch, but I just think like that's the. It's easy. Go ahead.
It's easier now to get more popular than go do the shows, as opposed to back in the day when you had to do the shows to try to get popular.
Well, I think there's so much competition now. I mean, you'd have to come up with really good shows. Like take Adversary. Like, let's say you modernized it, and you had your music today, right? And whatever. I'm saying, like, when the music that you played back then was the right music for that time. It's not probably the right music for this time, but let's say it was. Okay, let's just say the music that you guys wrote fit in with today and everything, right? Like, even if you had that music out there, it's on Spotify, all that kind of stuff, and you guys were young and everything, and able to play it at the concert clubs and stuff. I still don't know how you would get noticed, because that's not something, no one's going to watch it. No one's going to, I don't think it wouldn't spread, like, and I think that's the problem of all bands. Like, I think there's tons of bands out there cutting great music. Nobody's listening to it. Nobody can find it because it doesn't go viral. It has to have something almost like a curiosity factor, which I think is what helped Psy and Gangnam Style, and probably the song you were talking about, the Friday song. It's something where people are just like, I got to see this to see what people are talking about. Let me see what's going on. And so it's not even about the music, it's more about like, I got to see this crazy video, or I got to see this thing, and then the song sinks in after a while, you're like, all right, I get it. I like that song, and then,
don't get me wrong. It's popular for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. And there are, we all know, listen, we all listen to some songs that just hook. There's a good hook. We like it. We want to hear it again. It's a good tune. But I just think that, I don't know. I just think the state, where I'm going with this is just like, I think it's hard to not just make music. I just don't know if you can make a living at it, is all I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know.
Right. Unless you're one of those upper echelon type acts.
Right. You got to,
because you got to put everything into the stage show. Like you said, the tour. I mean, it's like, if you look now, I mean, barring some, even Wasp at the Agora with their big curtain and their videos and everything like that. It's like, wow, they're actually trying to give you a show, because that's what like these bigger acts are doing. The Taylor Swifts and the Foo Fighters, and they got these big stadium shows with all these lights and pyro and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what they have to do.
Right.
Like, that's how you get the people out,
Yeah, but it's got to, I mean, at least Wasp has the background. I mean, a new act isn't going to do that. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think Bessemer Saints is pretty good. I mean, it's a bunch of older guys, right? You go to these things. Like, I keep going to these shows, and I go to the shows that are, of different sorts, and I don't see a lot of younger dudes doing band stuff, which is, I'm not saying they're not there, but I just don't see them. Like, I don't know where they're doing it at. It's not like it was. And I think that
young people club,
that fever that people had for being in bands to make it, maybe it's too hard or something. Maybe they don't have the same, because look, when we were young and we would be watching, and I think this goes back pre-metal as well, but we were metal people. And we were watching metal videos. These guys looked like they were having a great time, right? I mean, they were getting drunk. They're dating hot girls. They're famous. They're rich, driving around in limousines. Yeah. A lot of it was all paid for by the record company. Most of those guys ended up broke. But when you would watch it, I mean, I'm sure there's a part of you that watched Headbangers Ball, and some of those bands on there, you're like, why the fuck are these guys on there? We're way better than these guys. You know what I mean? Like, how can we, like, what is it that, they got that, and it seemed like, everybody kind of was doing the same thing and thinking, I can do this. This looks like a great way to live my life, And so there was some sort of drive there, I think, that everybody kind of wanted that lifestyle, even though later on you kind of realize that just leads to a bunch of alcoholism.
It's all BS.
It's all bullshit. But at the time, so that creates this drive, you want to be like Kiss. You want to be like, Rush or something, you want to fill stadiums and have all these people like cheering and singing your songs and everything. And I think that there's that kind of got into the blood of our generation for a lot of people. I don't know if that's there now for the generation, the younger generation, because it's different now. Like, I think like the acts aren't doing the same. They're not filling Some of them are, but they're not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the same. It's not all in your face constantly like it was when we were young. We had magazines and MTV, and it was all over the place, and people had concert t-shirts on, and, you know, constantly talking about it, and it's on and on and on. And today, I don't know. I think music for them, they got Spotify. Every single song in the world is on there. They can listen to some eclectic playlist that only they're into. So it creates this massive division, and trying to tune that into one particular group, making a success out of it, very difficult. I mean, way more difficult than it ever was. Yeah, so I don't know.
Well, I was listening to somebody talk about this the other day, and then it's kind of like what you just said. They're like, the kids nowadays, it's not like us back in the day, because back in the day, all we had was radio. So whether or not you wanted to listen to something, you had to wait. You know what I mean? It's like you had to listen to what was on the radio. And so you would get introduced to all different kinds of music. You would hear all different kinds of songs, whether you liked them or not, turned them on, turned them off. It doesn't matter. You know how many songs I don't like that I know the words to because I've heard them. You know, it's just like you just hear them enough. Whereas nowadays, everybody, and I'm not saying the kids isn't like, oh, the kids, but I'm saying like the younger generation, whatever. They got the Spotifys, they got the, you know, all the streaming services, so they don't need to go listen to something else.
Right.
They just go, oh, I like this group, and it's like, and they don't expose themselves to anything else. Like,
or maybe they do through their friends when they're at parties and stuff. But I mean, I think it's their exposure is really limited. Yes.
And it's more like, I think it's more of like a status thing where people are like, oh, aren't you listening to Lil Uzi or whatever? And then everybody goes, oh my God, I got to go download all his music, you know, stuff like that. You know,
X-Men theme music from the cartoon all the time. I don't know. Yeah. So, I mean, the state of the music industry has decayed.
Completely different.
And I think that, it's obviously never going to go away, but I think it's not healthy. And it continues to be more and more fragmented to the point where I don't know. Yeah, it was just something to talk about. Whatever.
I'm at that point now where all I do now is when I drive around, I listen to podcasts.
Oh, really?
Because it's just like, well, I mean, not all the time. A lot of times I'll listen to music.
Oblast with Don and Kevin. It's a good show.
Oof. Well, I tried. You know what? I find all the old BGN ones. Yeah. And every time I see one with a good topic, I click on it and I go, all right. And then I listen to the intro and I'm not on it. And I'm just like, I'm like, oh, I don't want to listen to this one. You know what I mean? It's always like Kevin Baird, Brian Baird, Don Cease, Larry Mack. And I'm just like, what?
You were on a lot of them. I mean, you were only off for a short period of time. Yeah, like a year, right?
But it always seems the ones I pick, I'm not on. I'm always like, idiot. But that's all I do. But I'll listen to my Spotify list. You know what I mean? It's like there's all the songs that I like that I put on there.
Yeah. Well, it's not unusual for old people like us to be listening to the stuff that we listened to when we were younger. I mean, it's just there seems to be some point in the human brain when we're not a whole lot interested in new music. And I don't know what that is, but that just seems to be a trait that I've noticed among all of my friends. They don't really embrace new tunes.
Now, I've done that because of Sophie, or not Sophie, but because of Sophie and because workplace satellite radio. So I'll hear all these songs because I have no choice. Like, just like the old days, you know, the radio's on, you're listening to what's on the radio. And so I was like, I'll hear things and it's like, oh, okay, that was pretty catchy. Oh, that's pretty cool too. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll get into some stuff. I won't know. They'll be like, who is that? I'm like, I have no idea. But I'm an old man. Get off my lawn. And, but it's like, I'm still kind of introducing myself to something, trying to get it. Am I into it? Do I want to go see him in the concert? No. But then again, I didn't want to go see Tom's band in concert last night. So, Actually, last night, just to throw this out there for you, because I said to myself, I was like, you know what? I should just go up there. I'm going to go get some food. I'm going to eat real quick, and I'll go up there. You know what I mean? Whenever the girlfriend gets off of work, right? Then I'll leave. Right. I got halfway there, and I completely forgot my earplugs. And I was just like, there's no way. Because like you said earlier, where you were screaming because it's so loud. I was like, "There's no way I'm going in there without earplugs on."
That's funny. I had an extra set on me. I could give them to you. But
and I said that
it's a $10 cover, so you probably were better off just not going.
I would have been $5 short.
Yeah, so. It would be outside, just like hanging out.
Yeah.
So totally different topic. So, but if people remember, the rear of my property, where I live, has a drainage easement. Water comes out on the one side when it rains. It's kind of like a creek. It rushes across the back of my yard into a big drain pipe on my neighbor's property. For whatever reason, this is how it was engineered. So the water comes out right near the edge of my property, runs over my property to the edge of my neighbor's property who has the drain, and it goes in there. Why they didn't move the drain over where the water comes out, I don't know. However, the city engineer had come out last year or something and told me that I needed to fix the swale. And you remember this whole thing, Don.
The swale. I had to deal with one of those
right
before.
And so that's like the dent. So like you would have a dent in the ground essentially, and the water would run down the dent into the drain. So I called professionals. I ain't doing this. I mean, I'm not an engineer. I'm not going to try to measure this right and figure it out. I got no time for it. So I called the professionals. They came out. They dug it out, right? And then they put in some landscape type paper on the bottom of it, and then they put rocks, right, all through the whole thing. I mean, there's got to be like 1,000 or 2,000 rocks, right? Big pond stone rocks, and it was fine as far as I'm concerned. It was great, everything. And last week, like Thursday or Friday, I think Friday, the city engineer, a year later, mind you, sends me a message. He's like, hey, I was out on the property over there and I was taking a look at it. And I know she got those rocks on there. He's like, those rocks are packed too tight together. You're going to have to go in there and break those rocks up and put them, either on the banks or make a canal there so the water can get through. Cause it's going to back up, which it's really not, so I don't really know where he's going with that, but I wrote him back. I mean, I'm pissed off, first of all, that it's been a year. And second of all, I'm like, didn't they pull a permit? I'm like, didn't you guys approve the permit? Like, look at it, inspect it, say it's okay. And then these guys, do this. And then now you want me to go out there and move 1,000 rocks around? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not, I mean, ultimately, it's the city. I can't sit there and be like, I ain't doing it. You know what I mean? Because they're just going to be like, well, we'll just fucking take you to court, or just fine you forever. I'm like, I guess I'll do it. So but I was hot, but I didn't say anything mean. I was just like, do you understand my frustration? You guys tell me to do this. I paid all this money. It's like $3,500 to have this trenched out and put together, and you guys like approve it, and then a year later you tell me I got to change it. So then I call the landscaping people that did it, and I'm like, well, I mean, I'll send you guys the email. She's like, it's weird, we pull a permit and they'll approve it and everything. I was like, yeah, I know, I kind of understand it. And she's like, well, he'll end up taking a look at it, and then he'll probably call him, and then he'll give you a call and let you know what's going on. I'm like, all right, because I don't know. I mean, if I got to pay for it, I'll pay for it, but because I got to get it fixed. I mean, it is what it is. It's a city, but I just don't understand. These guys are the professional. These are like this contractor is the contractor in the city that does this irrigation work, right? If you got a problem and you need this done, these are the guys that do it. They do it all the time. And I get this email back because I'd sent that guy that email there. I was all frustrated, the city engineer, and he writes me back and he was like, yeah, they didn't pull a permit. They didn't use a permit. No permit was filled out for your property. And that's how he responded to it. So I'm just like, fuck. I'm like, why the fuck didn't they pull a permit, man? Like, what are you, crazy? Like, I told that guy that the city engineer wanted me to change this shit, and they decide not to pull a permit to do this. So now I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I don't know what they're going to come back with as an excuse. Hopefully they don't just ignore me, and I have to find somebody else to redo the whole thing, which is going to be even more expensive. And I don't have this kind of money. I mean, it's like, just ridiculous. Paid a crap load of money to tax the IRS this year. So, I don't have a lot of money on hand to be like dropping $5,000 or whatever to,
Right.
repair this backyard drainage fucking easement, to some guy's standards, whatever he comes up with, that decides that the water, that's not even my, like, I didn't create this problem. You know what I mean? Like, I bought the property. It's my property. Who the fuck cares if it's draining right? It's my property. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, they got a problem with it or something. So, I gotta fix it. And I've already spent a ton of money on it, and maybe I have to spend more. So yeah, being a property owner is not always like people are telling you. It's like, it's better than renting and stuff. I mean, not always.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get these hidden fucking things that, surprise you, and then you got to pay crazy amounts of money to appease the city over a design flaw that I didn't create this neighborhood. I'm not an engineer. I don't know what the fuck to do. Why would you think I would know how to do this? And then when I have something all done, you come a year later and complain about it. Fucking A. It's like, what the fuck?
Didn't anybody have this problem before you?
Yeah, and here's the beauty of it. So the guy that lived here before me tried to get a pipe put in, and the for whatever reasons, they rejected that. So then he wanted to put in a garden wall because of that hill that's right at the very back of my property. Is a hill that kind of goes up. There's some trees on there and stuff, and it kind of raises up into my backyard neighbor's property, where his backyard, I guess, is raised up a little bit. And he was like, well, I want to put a garden wall around that. And the city said, no, can't do that. He did it anyway. I still have the garden wall. It's there, and the city's just like, you can't have that. That's in violation and stuff. And I'm always like, I don't think that's causing us a problem. Do you want me to remove it though? And they're like, no, but they always like to point out that I have it and that it's not supposed to be there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I did something wrong. I'm like, look, I bought the house. I didn't know that he didn't pull a permit to get that put in, and now I got these guys not pulling a permit, doing all this work. And then, what a nightmare, man. So anyway, at least he didn't complain about my shed or something, or my deck, and been like, oh, so you didn't get a permit for that either or something, I'll be like, fucking just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. So anyway,
just turn and look at you. They're like, are you sure you own this property? Let me take a look at this. This paper wasn't signed.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. That's what it feels like. It's like, I feel like it's harassment almost, but I don't know. I don't even know what he was doing out on my property or whatever. Maybe my neighbor was complaining about his yard again, and he decided to target my yard or something. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck it's all about, but it's dumb. Also, on the topic of dumb and yard work, what's dumb is mulch. If you happen to live in a desert or something, you don't know what mulch is. It's where they shred wood into shredlings, and they dye it. So there's black, brown, and red. Those are your three colors of mulch. I think weird places might have like a blue or a green or something, but I think the standard is red, black, or brown. And where you have like trees and stuff, you take this mulch and you put it around the tree or the garden bed or whatever, and it makes your house look nice for about a month.
Exactly.
And then the mulch decays, turns into soil, and you get weeds all over the fucking place.
Washes away.
Right. And you get gaps, and it looks like hell. But it is like this ritual that you do every year. In the springtime, people out here order, truckloads of mulch, which I had to do, in order to, and to dress up the yard. And I just think to myself, like, this is some stupid shit. Like, I want to just let nature reclaim everything and just like have like, I don't, but that's the other thing is like, if you don't do something about it, then you have a weed garden. Like, nothing else is going to grow there except the worst weeds you can imagine. Are going to grow there. It's shit. It's the worst shit ever. Anyway, and I have to shovel wheelbarrows full of this garbage and pour it into like different plots on my property, where stuff is. And I like that didn't hurt my back. When you like do a lot of bending over all the time and shoveling and all that kind of stuff, that your back tightens up and then it's just sore and you're just like, you walk like you got a stick stuck up your ass. Well, that's me. And just waiting for that to kind of calm down so I can finish doing the other half of the fucking mulch. And this was just my yard work bitch session right here, but I just hate it. Hate mulch. Hate it.
It's granted, it looks nice. When it's done, you can be like, okay, that looks cleanish, I guess, or nice, and I don't know,
nice
whatever.
For a minute, yeah, they know it does for that 1 minute.
It's a pain in the ass. Like every year, that was my mom. That was my mom back in the day. Every year, we're getting bags of mulch, bags and bags of mulch. It's like, ugh. Then we spread it, and then the rain comes, washes it away, and the snow comes, and it deteriorates it, and then springtime shows up, and then you're like, time to put some more down.
Yep.
It's like, where is this all going?
It's super big. It's like, and what a racket for the people that make it. They're just taking some wood, putting some dye on it, maybe shredding it up, selling it to you, for
mulching up all the profits.
Easy money for them.
Okay.
But anyway, okay. So I had a cooking thing I wanted to mention.
Cooking thing?
Yeah, like when you cook food. I've been cooking a lot at home because I'm trying to reduce the amount of sugar that I intake. So I don't want any added sugar into my diet. I'll still eat fucking ice cream and donuts and shit. So I'm still working through this process, but at least I'm like, trying to cook my own food. And, I did go to culinary training and all that shit for years. And just like you cooked for years, we know how to cook.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, sometimes when you're cooking and you have a recipe and it might be like, maybe you're making like a creamy soup or maybe some kind of like dessert or something, it'll call for heavy whipping cream sometimes, heavy cream. And if you ever go to the grocery store and you look at heavy cream is kind of expensive. You can buy like a small like quart of heavy cream and you're going to set back like almost $10 for that, depending on where you go and the quality and all this kind of stuff.
And only use half of it.
And yeah, you only use the half of it, and then you're not going to use it for anything else because what the hell are you going to put cream on, and end up tossing the trash. Now, some people will use like 50-50, or just use milk and deal with it and stuff. What I suggest, this is my pro tip for you out there, everybody, is if the recipe calls for cream, buy yourself some cans of evaporated milk. It is essentially the same thing. It is this like almost the same fat content, same richness, same flavor, everything. The only thing that I would buy regular cream for is if I needed it cold for some reason, which I don't even know what that would be. Maybe if I was making like berries and cream for somebody, like to serve it to them, I could refrigerate the evaporated milk. It's in a can as well, I suppose. But maybe I would do that. But anything else cooking wise, if you use evaporated milk in the can, way cheaper. And you can buy it ahead of time. Like if you're somebody that does cook and you can have a couple cans in your cabinet for that time when you need some cream. Hey, you got it right there because it'll last forever if it's in the can, unlike a carton that's going to go bad in a couple weeks or whatever, and you have to throw it in the trash. So, evaporated milk, not to be confused with condensed milk. It's a little bit different, but evaporated milk is essentially just what cream is, but it's in a can. So now everybody out there, save your money, trying to help. Pro cooking tip with Kevin.
That's good. I do have one recipe that calls for cream, and that's always the same thing where it's like, I got to buy this whole thing just for half a cup or whatever.
Right.
Like, it's like there's nothing else I can do with this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what people the people that only use like almond milk and all that kind of stuff, non-dairy people, because like I don't think there's any substitute right now on the market that I'm aware of that has the consistency of heavy whipping cream and also would work like heavy whipping cream, like you could whip it. You know what I mean? Like you could turn it into a whipped dish. Like I don't I don't know if you can do that with any of these nut milk things. Because I think most of those things are actually just water with flavoring and some thickening agent that they've added in there. But for the most part, it's not really any kind of, it's not really milk. You know what I mean? It's not really.
Can't milk an almond.
Right. Exactly. So I drink the almond milk stuff. I mean, I drink oat milk and it's fine. I don't have any problem with it. I do that just to just a little bit less cholesterol on my diet. And so, it tastes fine. And occasionally I'll have milk for something too, it's just, but I don't buy a lot of milk because when I do, I don't end up using it because I don't do cereal and it'll just go bad, So for me, one person living here buying a gallon of milk or even, half gallon or a quart, I just won't use it. But they do sell this stuff, called Parmalat. It's a weird name. It's a European thing, but you can buy it at most major grocery stores, and it's shelf stable milk. So it's totally regular milk. It's just that you can put it in your pantry, and until you open it, you don't need to refrigerate it, and you can probably keep it in there for a year. They all have expiration dates for 4 or 5 months out or something, but that's just mostly one of those Best By date kind of things. As long as, no bacteria gets into it or anything, it's fine. It's going to be good for a year or so. And then once you open it and use it, then you just put it in the refrigerator until you're done using it. So I always have one of those for an emergency in my pantry, just in case I ever need to pull, something where I actually need milk, it's there. But I just don't buy milk because I don't eat cereal. It's too much sugar.
Cereal guy.
Yeah, it's you're the one friend I have that you don't gain weight really. I mean, you do. I know historically, we have history. You've gained weight in the past, but I'm saying you managed to keep your Don Anderson size pretty consistently, regardless of what you eat.
Right.
And I can't say that about everybody else in our age group.
I don't know anybody like that.
No, maybe Packard. I don't know what he eats, but he's also in your club. Everybody else, though, not really. Everybody is large.
He likes Twinkies.
Larger for some reason. Maybe Gary. I don't know. I mean, it's not just the physical labor thing, though, because you're different in that sense, and so is Tom, because neither of you guys, now you're up doing your physical labor job, but before you were just driving. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's because you were.
Oh, I worked in a steel mill.
Well, that I'm saying, but
for years.
For the last couple of years, you were just driving, and you didn't suddenly become fat because you were driving.
No.
Right, that's what I'm complimenting you. I'm saying.
Oh, I was just saying, hey man,
you managed to keep your regardless of how you're working. Where
I've done more than just move furniture.
Well, what I'm saying is I think Gary does some kind of I don't know what he does, but he's
in the Glazers Union.
Yeah, he's doing some sort of physical labor his whole life. So if he maintains his size, it's because he's burning calories all the time. Where I'm saying with you, it's up and down. Yeah, you worked in a factory, but then other times, you didn't, that kind of thing. And but you have managed to maintain your size without any problem.
Right. And here's the proof to that. I worked at the Cheesecake Factory for 10 years and never got fat.
Right.
But I have seen so many people work there that's just they get larger every year.
Right. And you would eat the food. It wasn't like you wouldn't eat the food. You would eat the food.
I just didn't eat as much as those pigs.
Just, right.
I mean, people.
You just have you just seem to have a good sense of, I don't know, but I've known you a long time and you eat. You know what I mean? You like eating. We like meatball subs. We both like, food that's bad. You ate a whole box of ice cream sandwiches. It's just something about it, man. You just seem to know when not to eat, I guess, or whatever. But yeah. Anyway, there's nothing going with that, but it's just one of those things. Because
evaporated milk, people,
it just blows up and everything.
Oh,
it's it's weird. But anyway, that's it for this week. We're going to have more next week. I think we'll talk a little bit. We got to touch on the end of The Mandalorian. And,
I forgot all about that.
I got to, I started watching that Picard show, the last season of that. I should mention Star Trek once in a while, right? And, Yeah, and some Disney superhero stuff, but yeah, we'll get to that. So next week we'll have more of that kind of conversations, and I'll let people know what's going on with my drainage easement, because that's some exciting shit. And,
oh my God.
And yeah, and more. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Peace. Peace. Double peace.
Can't find the mouse. You've been listening to Oblast with Don and Kevin. If you'd like to write into the show, send an email to oblast@vgn.us. That is VGN as in video game news. And be sure to check out our Patreon page, which is at patreon.com/VGN, where you can get all of our shows, our videos, and some musings. Be sure to tune in each week for new episodes on our Patreon page, or every other week on the public RSS feed that you're subscribed to now. Thanks for listening, and good night.
Peace.